Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Agarwal, Honorable Guest, Professor Shrikant. On the stage, you can see three Venkatrakamana sitting, Srinivas, Srinivas, Srinivas. One Srinivas from Dean, Research and Development, who spoke now. Another Srinivas, Dean's Science and Humanities, and another Srinivas, Head of the Department of Physics, Convener of the program, Dr. Malapati, Honorable Professor from IIT Chennai, IIT Madras, very distinguished dignitaries from physics and chemistry, and budding researchers in the department, plus so many young colts who have been over here. Good morning to all of you again. Well, we just had a pre-discussion before coming over here. It was very interesting that Professor Agarwal, Professor Bhatnagar, Anil Bhatnagar, Professor Anil Bhatnagar. My friend is Professor Anil Agarwal, that's the problem. Okay, okay. Professor Bhatnagar, of course, you were Pro-Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellor of Central University of Hyderabad earlier, was also my friend Arun Agarwal. Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry for that. I'm Professor Bhatnagar. Well then, you have been speaking about research. But look at the fate of our country. We don't even give a single creative problem in mathematics question paper. We don't give even a single purpose of creation in primary school, high school, and +2 level. Horrible is +2. Most horrible on earth is the +2 education of Government of India. And most horrible high school, where people do not know the purpose at all of the education. Most horrible are the parents who do not know what has got to be the horizon of education. And suddenly we speak about high-ended research. How do you expect a PhD scholar to become a high-ended researcher if he does not know what is thinking? If he does not know what is creative ability? Absolutely, the 3 years of PhD would go away for a guide in shaping him as a researcher. Only after 2 years he would be able to think about a problem. I mean, strictly speaking, he should be able to think about a problem, because first of all, he has got to develop himself as a creative thinker. Unfortunately, when our parents feel that along with high school itself, students have got to prepare for a stupid examination called joint entrance examination, and then the stupidity continues called joint entrance examination main, and there is a wonderful factory in India called Quota Factory. You should have watched that Netflix serial on Quota Factory, which has got 2 seasons. And today Government of India is going ahead to introduce common entrance examination for all programs in the universities. I wonder whether what has happened to these think tankers and advisors who keep recommending all these examinations. How many examinations a student has got to take, and has he realized what has been his goal in the whole life? A young boy, his whole goal is to get a seat in computer science in IIT Bombay. If he does not get into IIT Bombay, only then he will think of IIT Kanpur, and only then he will think of IIT Madras. And naturally, if he does not get a seat in computer science in any of these three institutions, immediately he will think of joining IIIT Allahabad because he wants to be in computer science. Now, after that, even 60% of the boys who join IITs do not have an imagination that today's IITs have been because of yesterday's research. They all are most worried about the campus placement. In fact, our ranking agencies also, I cannot understand, even the ranking agencies also try to find out how many campus placements have been produced. The ranking agencies also give the least importance for the generation of knowledge. And then, generation of knowledge, obviously people think, unfortunately our generation thinks, it is the number of publications. People know how to write. For every paper on this earth, there is a publisher. For every publisher, there is a paper. For every journal, there is a paper, and for every paper, there is a journal. But then, research does not come just at the surface level. Research has got to be the passion. Research has got to be the intrinsic ability to create something. The intrinsic ability to strive at a focused point. And that intrinsic ability has got to be cultured. If he is a researcher, his research capabilities should definitely get sprouted when he has been at the high school level. Right? If you are made a researcher later, good. But then, at least you should realize what you have lost in your high school because of the stupid education system we have got. Well then, without any creative ability, naturally, because our teachers do not even ask a single question anywhere during the class or in the examination, a question to test to probe the creative ability of a candidate, but only to reproducing ability of the candidate being tested. We suddenly now speak about research. Right? Well then, unfortunately, including me as director of IIIT, we look forward to government funds for research. We don't even try to see how research has been happening in the rest of the world. Well, of course, it is government's responsibility to push up the gross education index of the nation, to push up the gross research index of the nation, but at the same time, in USA, whole research is not exclusively because of government. All research, all universities in USA are also because of the industries. What are our industries doing here? We speak about industry-institute interaction. What do they speak? Where is the association? Why am I telling you this? The whole torchbearers of India, whole torchbearers of science and research are the youngsters who are sitting over here. And I am sure some of you would definitely become politicians. And when you get an opportunity and when you can mobilize yourself to bring a change in the world, think seriously about all the pitfalls which have happened till now. We have been trying to construct a superstructure without a proper foundation, proper basement. IIT Chennai or IIT Kanpur has not, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi has, they have not happened overnight. They have put in their best sweat. They haven't just happened overnight. All right? So now the other point is, naturally almost all private institutions in India have been trying to become only teaching shops to produce engineers, to produce so-called graduates. And we don't even know the meaning of what a graduation is. We are trying to produce the people for so-called industries, and the middle class mentality of the parents absolutely would be so high that they are so happy that their child is placed in a company. Good. If one is a breadwinning member, naturally the stability, financial stability is very much required. But then even to go for an industry, we have got to ensure that every person who is stepping into the future life should have the ability to express, should have the ability to introspect, should have the ability to naturally critically think. Expression comes only by introspection. Introspection can be possible only when every one of us is able to think critically. But then I am still happy that Vignan has been inducting the youngsters the idea of research by conducting such high-profile research conferences. I'm also happy that all these schools are engaged in doing research which would keep the researchers in the department vibrant. Everybody has got to understand that it is not the number of campus placements which would elevate the status of any institution. The status of any institution rises high and high only because of the contribution to the field in terms of knowledge, which happens only because of research. And I'm very sure, irrespective of the theme of the conference, if the youngsters sitting over here are inducted and motivated to think, irrespective of the field where they step in, either production or an ordinary job in industry, they should be able to think and think to remain a researcher in their own field. I'm very sure the keynote addresses and the distinguished addresses over here shall illuminate not only our younger faculty in the campus, also the future generation who are going out of Vignan. Thank you very much for such patient hearing.